The Phlegraean Fields near Naples, Italy, are arguably one of the most dangerous places on Earth. In this short, I'll be explaining why this region could erupt at any day now, and what catastrophic consequences this will have for millions of people. The Phlegrae are located just outside of Naples, home to over 4 million people. To put into perspective just how close this volcano is to the city, here's Mount Vesuvius, which you may or may not know destroyed the Roman city of Pompeii in 79 AD, killing thousands of people. And that's just one of the volcanoes around Naples. Now imagine if something like Vesuvius happened today with the much larger population that lives nearby. And that is not impossible. In fact, it's probable that it will happen someday. But first, let's start from the beginning. What actually are the Phlegrae? There are 4 main volcanoes that make up the Phlegrae, which include Lake Agnano, Monte Epomeo, the central crater, and the Astroni crater. All 4 have been dormant for hundreds or even thousands of years, but scientists still monitor them because they are considered an active volcanic area. The reason for this is because there has been seismic activity recently. Also, the craters are filled with water, and scientists have noticed the water levels rising. This means magma is being pushed up towards the surface. So all signs point to yes, this area will erupt again. It's not a matter of if, but when. But the really scary part is that the Phlegraean Fields could erupt at any time now. A study published in 2023 found that these craters could go off without warning and with very little to no earthquakes preceding the eruption. So there would be no indication that something like this was going to happen until it already did. Another study published the same year concluded that there was a 12% chance of an eruption in the next 2,000 years and a 50% chance of an eruption within the next 100,000 years. However, the researchers couldn't rule out the possibility of an eruption happening tomorrow. This brings us to the question of why these volcanoes are so dangerous. The answer lies in what type of eruption we're dealing with here. There are different classifications for volcanoes based on their shape, size, eruptive style, and more. The 2 main types are shield volcanoes and stratovolcanoes. Shield volcanoes have very loose material made up of mostly lava flows, and they tend to be much larger. Stratovolcanoes, on the other hand, have a steeper slope and are made up of layers of lava, ash, and rock. These are the ones that tend to be explosive. And that's the kind we're dealing with here. So if you thought the eruption of Vesuvius that destroyed Pompeii was bad, just wait until you hear about the potential eruption of the Phlegrae. Let's say there was a large magnitude eruption tomorrow. What would happen to the surrounding areas? Since it's likely the eruption won't be preceded by any earthquakes, it will take everyone by surprise. Pyroclastic flows, which are extremely hot mixtures of gas and solid matter, would zoom down the slopes of the volcanoes, traveling as far as 25 miles per hour. This would destroy everything in its path. But the most dangerous thing about these pyroclastic flows is that they're fast. They move so quickly that you wouldn't be able to outrun them. Even if you heard them coming, you wouldn't be able to get away in time. The only option would be to hide in a safe place, which would be extremely difficult to find. And unfortunately, the Phlegrae happens to be one of the most densely populated areas in Europe. So a lot of people would be caught off guard, and the death toll would be absolutely devastating. Naples alone has a population of 4 million people, and then you have the surrounding towns and cities, which makes the total population close to 6 million. A study conducted in 2014 estimated that if the Phlegrae were to erupt, the amount of people killed would depend on the severity of the eruption. If it was a smaller one, then around 2 million people would die. But if it was a larger eruption, then it would be closer to 6 million people. That's the entire population of the surrounding area wiped out. And keep in mind, this doesn't just mean people. Many animals would also die. You can only imagine the damage done to the environment. Air and water pollution would reach extreme levels. Crops would be destroyed, meaning food shortages would happen. All of this would lead to global panic. It would be a disaster unlike anything we've seen in a long time. And the sad thing is that this is likely inevitable. According to a paper published in 2012, the Phlegrae are a ticking time bomb. It's just a matter of when they'll explode, and do so with tremendous force. If you think that sounds dramatic, then check out this quote from another research paper. The authors state that an eruption of the Phlegraean could have enormous repercussions for society, comparable to those of an earthquake of magnitude 7 or greater or a major pandemic. Imagine the devastation caused by Japan's Mount Vesuvius volcano in 1991. This event killed 43 people, and the costs exceeded $8 billion. Now scale this up by a factor of 1,000, and you'll get a sense of the sort of socio-economic impacts that would follow an eruption of the Phlegraean. Basically, everything would be ruined. But why does this keep happening? Why don't these volcanoes ever stay quiet? Well, there's a reason why this area is known as the Ring of Fire. There are multiple tectonic plates sliding past each other here: the African plate, the Eurasian plate, and the smaller and newly forming island arc. All three plates are constantly moving, which creates friction. This causes stress to build up, releasing energy in the form of earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. And right now, things are getting pretty tense. Let's talk about the 4 volcanoes that make up the Phlegraean. First, we have Monte Epomeo. This stratovolcano is the largest of the 4, with a base diameter of 5 miles and a height of 2,000 feet. Its last eruption was between 12,000 and 8,000 years ago. Next, we have the central crater, which contains 2 lakes, Lago di Pozzuoli and Lago di Miseno. The central crater itself hasn't erupted in thousands of years. However, the caldera formed after a large eruption that happened about 15,000 years ago. Then we have Lake Agnano, which is interesting because it's a Maillard lake. This means it was formed by a single explosive eruption. This happened about 8,000 years ago. And lastly, there's the Astroni crater, which hasn't erupted for around 5,000 years. All 4 of these volcanoes are closely monitored, especially the Astroni, because of its proximity to Naples. But why does the magma push up the water in the craters? It all has to do with pressure. Magma chambers exist beneath the craters, and the pressure from the magma pushes the water upwards. This is what's causing the water level to rise. In 2019, researchers used gas measurements to study the volcano. They sampled gases from inside the craters, and the results showed that the gas content was high, meaning the pressure inside the magma chamber was increasing. The reason for this is because new magma is generated deep underground. Then it slowly moves upwards, increasing the pressure. When the pressure becomes too much, it will release itself in the form of an earthquake or a volcanic eruption. So what can be done about this? Should we try to stop the inevitable? Well, some experts say yes, but it won't be easy. An idea proposed in 2013 suggests drilling holes into the volcano and pumping cold water down into the magma chamber. By doing this, the magma would solidify, reducing the pressure. It would be like putting a lid on the pot to reduce the steam. However, this plan has its risks. Geologist Carlo Doglioni worries that drilling the holes could trigger an eruption. He believes we should leave the volcano alone and focus instead on evacuating the surrounding areas when necessary. Other experts agree. They say it would be too dangerous to try to fix the problem at the source. The best solution is to simply monitor the situation and prepare for when the worst happens. At the end of the day, all we can do is hope for the best and prepare for the worst. When it comes to predicting volcanic eruptions, we're still relatively primitive. We're still trying to figure out exactly how they work. The Phlegraean are a good example of this. We know an eruption is coming, but we don't know when. And by the time we figure it out, it might already be too late. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button so you can see more science explained videos. Thank you for watching.